Do you wish somebody wrote down the recipe for your parenting challenges? Did you want tips and tricks to become a better mama for you and your babies? I know I do. If you're a mother who feels that you are doing the best you can with the hands you've been dealt, but you're still getting it done, then this podcast is for you. I'm so glad you tuned in to Nailed It Motherhood, because we might have the recipe that nobody wrote down. Welcome back to another episode of Nailed It Motherhood Podcast. I am your host with the most, Tamara, Eldridge. This is a podcast where we talk to real moms and we get real, raw, and relatable about all things parenthood. If this episode resonates with you once you leave today, don't forget to like, share, and comment on this page. Your support helps more mamas find this space and feel seen. Today, we are talking with a mama who is not only raising 3 beautiful children, but also raising awareness about a very serious and life-threatening pregnancy condition, preeclampsia. This mama is using her voice and her sense of humor to bring light to the hard stuff. We do need that every now and then, so I appreciate it. To bring light to the hard stuff that some women experience. And she also hopes to make sure her daughters are better prepared if they choose this pathway further down the road. So grab your coffee, your journal, or just a quiet moment as we welcome our wonderful guest mama, Lisa Lopez.
Hi.
Hey.
So good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. It's very good to have you. I know I should not say that I'm excited to talk to you about your topic of choice today. However, this may be the first time we are talking about preeclampsia, so I'm excited to hear a different perspective of parenting on the show. So thank you for joining us.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I do think your story is so important to share. And I'm very happy that you chose our podcast to bring awareness to this condition. But before we get into your horrific experience as a mama of color, and I think that's an added layer, which, you know, you and I know is a real thing. Before we get into your story, I'm going to share our episodic Tavi tale today. So today, our Tavi tale, I think I want to talk to you a little bit about stage fright. I think my baby girl, as big as her personality is, has stage fright. And I'm seeing it come up in different ways. This is important to me now because we're recording right before a recital that she's about to have for dance. This is her first dance recital, but this is not her first time getting in stage in front of people. So the first time she got in front of people was when she was in a chorus concert for her class when she was 3 years old. And my beautiful baby girl lifted up her dress the entire concert. I was so embarrassed. She had on this really pretty yellow dress with all these colorful flowers. And I said to myself, make sure you put on some real good biker shorts underneath her dress. And I'm so glad I did, because she sang maybe the first song. And then after that, all I saw was her dress over her face. All the parents were cracking up the entire concert. I don't know if any of their kids got any attention, but they were laughing at Tavia, throwing her dress, laughing, going back and forth with her dress. And they kept looking at me. So in my head, I'm like, the concert's up there. Turn around. Look at the concert. So that was the first time she was in front of people, and she was really nervous. So it was like a nervous, hey, look at me. But then when she was 4, she had another chorus concert. And I said to her, listen, do not get in there and lift up your dress. It was cute before. Don't do it again. So she didn't. This time, what she did was she saw me and she saw my boyfriend in the audience, and she stopped singing completely. All the songs that she sang all day long, sing at home. She got on my nerves about it every single time. She just didn't sing. And then, furthermore, she walked off the risers and came and sat in my lap the entire rest of the concert. So, she's got concert coming up soon, and she has a dance recital coming up soon. And I truly, truly pray that she has gotten over her stage fright, because I don't know how much more money I'm going to put into all these concerts and recitals, and she keeps showing me her behind, literally. So, thank you so much, Lisa, for listening to my Tavi tale. I think I got it off my chest.
That was so good.
And I'm hoping that thank you. I will let you know after her concert or after her recital how we do, okay?
I know. I'm like, when is it? Let's see if I can fit it into my schedule.
It's coming up. It's coming up. And the tickets are almost sold out. I would say come on over. But I'll make sure you get some footage. I will make sure.
Oh, that is
Lisa,
awesome.
we are not here today. Thank you. I'm glad it's awesome for other people. We are not here today about Tavia, though. We are here to talk about your story and your 3 beautiful children. So I am going to walk my way off the mic and give you the floor for your Herstory segment.
Thank you. Well, again, thank you so much for giving me this space to share my story, our story, the story of me becoming a mother. Was, I guess, in a whole sense, I say my first pregnancy, which is the one that made me a mom, my birth story and birth trauma with her. Actually, it was an amazing pregnancy. It was great. Everything was perfect until it wasn't. And when it wasn't, it was because of preeclampsia. My pregnancy was absolutely wonderful and great until about 30 weeks. I started developing what any other mother would see as regular pregnancy symptoms, which is something that's very difficult to deal with preeclampsia, because, swelling is a common pregnancy symptom. Being fatigued is a common pregnancy symptom. And things like that can go overlooked or overnoticed by the mother themselves, or unfortunately, sometimes even physicians. And so I feel very determined to tell my story, because I, had a great pregnancy until I didn't. And that's when preeclampsia entered. I started developing very high blood pressure readings at my 36-week appointment, which was just a week shy of being considered to term, and ended up having to go straight to the hospital for labor and delivery observation after not even 15 minutes at my doctor's appointment. I ended up not leaving the hospital for 10 days, which included lots of hospital bed rest, the preeclampsia just becoming incredibly severe to where I was just bedridden. I was on a magnesium drip, which was one of the worst experiences of my life. I think anytime I mention it, I feel warm in my body, which is, if you know about a mag drip. I also, was separated from my daughter because she had to go to the NICU. And so, it was just a crazy crash into parenthood for me, because I just went to a routine prenatal appointment and thought I was going to have, Thanksgiving celebration in the next coming days, and ended up having a baby instead, unexpectedly early and due to severe preeclampsia. So I feel very compelled to continue to tell my story and to get the word preeclampsia out there, the condition to be known a little bit more, because it is something that is happening to women every day. And there is 1 in 12 women will experience it during their pregnancy. 1 in 10 don't even know about it. And for women of color, we are 3 to 4 times more likely to experience life-threatening pregnancy complications, and even, maternal near misses or maternal fatalities from these conditions. So I feel very strongly about having this out there so that, other mothers are aware of what could go on in a situation that's supposed to be a really happy, great, amazing time, can have some unfortunate outcomes. And I think for myself, I had no idea about it. I didn't know anything more than the little excerpt in the What to Expect pregnancy book. And at that point, I don't even know if I'd gotten to that point of like that chapter or that week in the book. And so if I'm able to share my story and have someone connect to that and, share it as well, or even just share the word, the condition, just, hey, next doctor's appointment, ask them about preeclampsia, just want to make sure you're good. I see no problem in anyone speaking up to try to help. I hope, no one takes any of my stories as something that I'm trying to instill fear, because pregnancy is supposed to be an amazing, beautiful time. But we know with the conditions of the world and how things are right now, it's not for a lot of mothers. And unfortunately, the two chances that I had at it wasn't, the very best because of how the first one ended. And then my second was just riddled with anxiety, waiting for the ball to drop the second time. So I am very thankful to be here on the show, telling my story and, just hoping someone hears and connects to it, and it hopefully helping, other mothers, including possibly my two daughters in the future. I hope to never have them experience what I did, bringing their babies into the world. It's unfortunate that I did, but now I get to do this. I get to connect with amazing people like you and your followers, and just share my story and, just get it out there, because it needs to be known so that mothers and families can be prepared to advocate for themselves, for their partners, whoever they need to, because you and your baby deserve a healthy, amazing pregnancy. And that means, being heard, being listened to. And a lot of the times that unfortunately doesn't happen. So it's me using my tiny little soapbox here to help, hopefully, someone else have the courage to say, okay, I remember somebody talking about that, and I don't feel very good. I know being tired is a pregnancy thing, and my feet swelling is like a regular pregnancy thing, but I don't feel like that's right. Speak up, just say it, and say it to another person if you don't feel they're accepting it or receiving it the way you should, because especially in a pregnancy where so many things can go wrong, just let them tell you everything's fine. Don't, feel badly about going and getting care, getting checked up. My second pregnancy, like I said, I was riddled with anxiety. I probably took 7 trips to the ER in the first trimester just because things didn't feel right. And I don't regret any one of them. I am happy I got checked out and felt like my voice was heard. I, continued to look for a new OB. I probably went through 4 different OBs before I found the one that I eventually stuck with. Didn't get to help me deliver my baby, unfortunately, but, felt heard throughout my pregnancy. And that was very relieving to me as, a mother going through the potential of preeclampsia a second time around, which is something I also share about as well, because just the anxiety of, becoming a parent is one thing, but when something has gone wrong the first time, that kind of would give anybody a little anxiety about, oh, well, is this how it's supposed to be? Because especially with me being so asymptomatic, the second time around, everything was just like, okay, I know this is like a regular pregnancy thing, but this is also about the time that stuff started going south and the first time. And then, kind of just maybe giving myself a little more anxiety about that than I should have, but also giving myself the voice to, go in and say, I need to call the OB line, or I need to go, just get checked up to give myself that peace of mind, because that's what they're there for. That's their job. And if they're doing a good job, they're going to be listening to you and making you feel heard and, letting you leave feeling everything is okay and not with more worry and questions. So I am so happy to, have anyone ask any kind of questions about it, or, be the person to just make a funny little video on Instagram that's like, it's really funny, but also what's she talking about? Like, let me check out Google, or let me, send her a DM. Like, please do ask me any questions about anything about it, because the more we're talking about it, the more, it's going to get out there. And this year, for Preeclampsia Awareness Month, which does happen in May, their tagline or hashtag, is ask me about preeclampsia. And so any little funny video or anything, I have that hashtag and I've got it in my bio, because we need to talk about it. We need to talk about these things so they don't happen anymore, or there's anything that can be done to prevent it, because every mother and every baby deserves that from start to finish of their pregnancy. It's nice to see, good, happy, brought my baby home stories, kind of thing, and not the trauma that can come from, pregnancy and delivery, very unfortunately. But if I can tell my story to help anyone out in this space and this time, and for it to be as amazing as it can be for them, I am all about that. And so appreciative of anybody just giving me a little ear.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your experience that, was horrific, but ended up being a blessing in disguise, I guess, because you do have a platform now that you're able to share. Can you share for listeners who don't know what preeclampsia is, what it is to you, and what you can do potentially to try to avoid it, if there's anything you can do?
So preeclampsia is a life-threatening pregnancy complication that can usually arise and I guess not really be diagnosed, but you can start to show signs of that around 20 weeks in your pregnancy, which is halfway. It's the most common symptoms are a raise in blood pressure, swelling of the hands and face, nausea, and upper right quadrant pain of your belly. But the Preeclampsia Foundation is an amazing space to find out all, intense information about that. I luckily came across them. It was like 6 to 9 months after I had my baby. And that's when I just started to know more about what happened to us, which is just a weird thing to be in that space, reading how badly it can have an outcome for a mother and or baby. And just realizing like that could have been us, like every day now. I'm just like very happy to share a tiny bit of my story, because that's one day that mother and that baby might not have had. So ultimately sharing, for them as well. But preeclampsia in my story was presented asymptomatically. So I pretty much did not feel anything was wrong with me and my body until I thankfully did not miss that routine prenatal appointment. And I took 3 blood pressure readings. They took them 3 different ways, because the first one was just like really high and they just wanted to check before they, voiced any concern, but they did it manually also. And we're like, we're going to need you to go next door. Like, we're going to need you to go in for monitoring and, see how you do overnight. And then that turned into 10 days later of a hospital bed rest, running a lot of tests. I, couldn't get out of bed. It was just blood pressure readings and seeing if I had like high levels of protein in my urine, which was indicating that even though I felt fine, like my body was not doing okay. My kidneys were, not functioning the way they should. And more tests that were coming back were showing like how badly it was. So I ended up having my daughter 4 weeks early via C-section, because it was for preeclampsia. Pregnancy is the cure, but it really isn't, because I had her and was still bedridden on the mag drip, trying to get my blood pressure under control. I was on the mag drip and 2, maybe 3 different kind of blood pressure medications to get that down. And it was rough. So if I can prevent anyone from ever experiencing that, I am absolutely going to. It's just like a must. Like I don't want to hear anybody else's experience bringing their baby home that way. Yeah. It's rough.
Yeah, that sounds horrific. Which actually, it leads me to my question. So we talk often about postpartum depression, but when you're experiencing a life-threatening condition while you're trying to be in the most joyful period of your life, trying to, I call it bake the baby.
Yeah.
It has to affect your mental immensely. Like you know that there's this chance that you might not survive. There's this chance that your baby might not survive. Your life has literally just stopped. You said you thought you were about to celebrate Thanksgiving and it turned into something completely different than what your plan was.
Yeah.
So do you think that prepartum depression can really occur because of something like this?
Absolutely. I know, like the 10 days of being, just hospital walls and nothing else, was really difficult. I actually didn't, well, I say I didn't experience it, but I think it just kind of went undiagnosed until after my second daughter, when it just really all of them just kind of hit me, because I think I was in this cloud for a while where I didn't know. I didn't understand what happened to us. I didn't realize how severe it was, because every time something happened, another thing happened. And it was just like a snowball of all these things that I never got to really process. So, half a year, almost, a year later, realizing whoa, that was intense. I think I was just kind of maybe more so after that in this fog of just being really grateful, and that kind of clouded that, depression and anxiety or anything that could have happened. But I do know I did experience a little bit of it while in the hospital, because, you're just in these walls and you can't leave. And I couldn't even leave to see my baby. I couldn't even get up to go to the bathroom. So let alone walk down the hall to, see her. And it was really hard, because I had to, see pictures of her from, family members who I was just sad that I couldn't get to be there to see them meet, because that's all those things that you think of, well, I'm have a baby, we're gonna have all these cute pictures and it's just gonna be so great. And I'm seeing, her first days through photos, which is hard to, process. You're just oh, it's cool, everybody's seeing my baby but me. I just want to get to her and I can't do that. And so that does, any kind of experience like that would definitely bring that on. And I think that did kind of compound a lot after my second daughter was born.
Yeah. I can only imagine, so it kind of reminds me of the little bit of cleaning that I was doing in the hospital when Tavia was born. She refused to pee when she was in the hospital. Now, she pooped, but she wouldn't pee. And so they were running all these tests. And then on maybe the second to the last day that I was still in the hospital, they were saying that I'm going to go home, but they'll keep her. And I was like, no, you won't.
Yeah.
You're not keeping her. I said, I'll be here with her. I don't know what I was thinking, but I said, I'm not leaving without her. So, I mean, hindsight 2020, I probably should have just trusted the process, but what ended up happening I ended up taking her with. Yeah. So I can only imagine that all these people are getting this joyful time and moment with your daughter, and you're like, I want to be there. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know, right? Through the screen. So what hope did you have to hang on to then when you were going through that time?
Yeah, I guess just waiting to just be able to get to those moments of, okay, she's gonna, come back into my room. Thankfully, so I had her in 2018, which was before, like, pre-COVID. So I don't know how I lucked out with this, but I never had to leave after being discharged. She ended up leaving the NICU and they let her room in with me, which probably saved I know that saved my mental health, that experience around, because I don't even know how to like explain like the feeling inside of me. Like, I mean, unfortunately, so many can understand like that. Like, okay, but you're going to have to go and we're just going to chill here. And it's like, no, I didn't okay that. Like, my baby's like days old or like however old they are. And I didn't okay you being their caretaker. Like, I didn't give you a background check or anything. Like, why do you think you can just keep my baby?
I've watched way too many Lifetime movies.
Yeah.
Way too many Lifetime movies.
I know. I was like,
I'm just saying, that's how babies
Lifetime
get
and True
switched.
Crime. No. Yeah, I'm over here taking a little marker to her cute little toes. Like, I'm going home with that one.
That was me. So you brought up some statistics, which I found very interesting, and I appreciate that because it brings a credibility, I guess, to the fact that this is a real issue. Not that I'm calling you a liar or anything. I absolutely believe that you experienced this horrific thing.
Yeah.
But so it made me look up some numbers. So you said that 1 in 12 women experience preeclampsia. And 1 in 10 of them don't know about that, which is ridiculous.
I know. Seeing and hearing the numbers, it's just like, what? And I can absolutely believe it because I was one of them. I was in the hospital having it happen to me and my body and my baby. And I was just like, I don't know, like, I think like chapter 13 kind of says some stuff about it, something about high blood pressure. And I'm like, should be, very in my mind about like, I could lose my life. I could lose my baby right now, but I just had no idea. And that's not an experience I would ever want anyone else to go through, especially like after the fact, realizing like, oh, that was really severe. That I should have known more. Definitely.
It just made me wonder, like, how many women give birth every day? So I looked it up while you were talking. 368,000 babies are born worldwide every single day. So if 1 in 12 women have preeclampsia and 1 in 10 don't know, that's 30,000 women a day that may have preeclampsia, and 1 in 10 of them don't know. That is ridiculous.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of it can, just go undiagnosed with the similarities to regular pregnancy symptoms. And it's just another thing that I am very strong about being vocal about is that I was on Medicaid, both those pregnancies, and thankfully, was able to get that prenatal care that I needed because had I missed that appointment, I just, my mind can go to like the worst things that could have happened, and they could have happened. Like, I could have been driving the short distance to Thanksgiving dinner and had a stroke in the car, or, asking somebody, hey, pass me the potatoes, and boom, like, just blood pressure just way too high that I have a stroke or a seizure, at the dinner table with my family. Like, I can't even imagine. Like, and I did have that moment because I woke up a tiny bit later than I wanted to that morning. And I briefly thought, well, I can just do it. Like, they'll probably have an appointment on Monday. And thought about calling them. And had I done that, had I just, and that was just a few days that it could have just ended so horribly had I not done that. So it's incredibly important for mothers to have prenatal care and to go to those visits and to establish a great relationship with your OB and their team, because they're going to help you bring the most precious gift like home. And every mom and baby should get to do that. They should all get to go home.
Yeah, I think that you made a very, very important point that, like, you know, stay consistent with those appointments, because it was discovered that you were living with this condition. For me, it was gestational diabetes, but I also was on a blood thinner. So had I not taken those appointments seriously, anything could have happened. And it's just, you know, I don't know if you know about the woman who is now being in an incubator, who's currently brain dead. And we're not even going to talk about that because I know how sensitive that is. And that whole situation is ugly. But like, she had a headache and she wasn't taken seriously. But that actually leads me to a point that you made, that you and I have both experienced kind of being overlooked as brown women. And you said something so important. Not only did you said women of color are 3 out of 4 times more likely to have complications during their pregnancies. But then you countered it with making sure that you speak up. You said that you saw no problem in speaking up for help. And I'm going to confirm what you said, because that is so critical. Speak up more than once. If they tell you one thing and you don't trust it because you know what's going on in your body, go to someone else, get a second opinion.
Absolutely.
Tell them that you've done your research. Let them know that you know what you're talking about. Like, you have to advocate for yourself when you look like Lisa and when you look like myself, because that is one of the most horrific fears that I have. That's one of the most horrific fears, that I'm not being listened to. And I've experienced that, not with pregnancy, but I had a blood clot in my leg once. I had never had a blood clot before. 4 weeks later, I'm in the hospital with a cluster of clots in my lungs because they didn't take me seriously. And I just fell for the fact that, oh, it's just a swelling in my calf. And that's what the pain is. They didn't take me seriously. So I vouch for that. And I appreciate you sharing that. And I appreciate that you have that platform to make sure that women are really, truly speaking up for themselves. Would you mind sharing the platform that you give these tips for? I know there's a space for that later, but let's talk about it now. We'll bring it up again later. We want to make sure that people are listening to someone who has gone through this and understands what it is.
Yeah, thank you. No, absolutely. So I mostly just started highlighting my story on a new Instagram page that I made. So I'm at This Is Life with Lisa. It's just a W. So This Is Life W, Lisa. But that's just the main platform that I use now to share my little funny stories and, preeclampsia facts, just parts of my story. Come read along, ask me questions. Be excited to have anybody in that space. It'd be great.
Awesome. I will be following if I'm not already. I don't know if I am or not, but we'll be following Nailed It Motherhood podcast. And if you ever need me to share anything, just let me know. So I'm excited that you made it through and you're on the other side so you can tell your story. Can you share a little bit more about your children and what life is like as a mom? And then we'll move on to our tea time.
It's great. It's, insane some days. We have 3 that are a range of ages, a 2-year-old, one that just finished kindergarten, and another in college. So we've got them all, and they keep us busy, but it's great. They, teach us as much as we try to teach them. So yeah, it's just crazy kind of slammed into motherhood entrance, but hopefully I'm doing all right. They're alive. So
I like that you said you were slammed into motherhood. You actually used that you crashed into parenthood. Man, I have never felt that.
Yeah.
More parenthood, you can never be prepared. I'm just like, you just
Yeah.
can't. You can't.
No. There's no preparing.
Right. Add the other life-threatening
Yeah.
conditions, and my God.
Yeah.
Well,
It was a tough thing I didn't ask for, but
I mean, but you're doing it, and you're probably doing it amazingly well. So here we are. Here,
thank
and
you. Trying my
yeah,
best.
and on top of that, you're helping other mothers who want to have the same journey. Like, oh, I do have one more question. Actually, have doctors told you what we can do to try to avoid preeclampsia, or is this something that we just have?
So right now, unfortunately, with me saying in air quotes, excuse me, that delivery is secure. That is, I guess, kind of just what is the safest for mom and baby at this point. It's really not a cure because there is just so much more education that needs to be done and, things that need to be known. A lot of it, is that it, has to do a lot with the placenta. And so there's studying and research and things like that, really need to be done to really nail how we can prevent it. There are now, I believe, some simple blood tests that can help more of the likelihood of experiencing preeclampsia in your pregnancy, which I think is an incredible benefit. I would have definitely done that myself the second time around. If I was planning on having any other kids, I would definitely sign up for that too. I mean, I know my experience now that I would most likely, experience it again. But there are things like taking a low dose aspirin that I did during my second pregnancy. I think I started about week 12 until I delivered. And that helps me actually make it a week longer to have her as a term baby. So she wasn't a preemie. She didn't experience any NICU time. So it was a complete different experience. I got to have, my family in the room and, see my mom hold her for the first time and things like that I didn't get to experience the first time. So, not to give anybody the fear that oh, if I experience this, I should never have another baby. That's just something to talk to, your medical team with. Make sure again, you have a great OB. I had high risk doctors that I worked with, during both of my pregnancies as well, because the first was high risk before realizing any of the preeclampsia because I had ovarian cysts. So they were just making sure that she would be growing properly. And, that wasn't anything that was going to force a C-section for a safe delivery. So I was monitored a lot that way. But I mean, even with that monitoring, I, didn't hear from any of those doctors about preeclampsia or anything. So it's just a lot of doing your research and being educated on what, it's never great to hear, bad things when you're experiencing such an amazing time, but just to have the knowledge of those words and what could go wrong so that you or your family, can advocate for you. Because again, like we said, it's very important to have your voice heard. And even if it's, not going to be you that they listen to, your partner, your parents, your friends that are loud, they can come in there and they can say, no, you're going to listen to her or we're going somewhere else for care. And it's not as easy as that, but it is as easy as that because someone will listen to you and get you the care that you deserve.
Right. It's never that easy. However, from my experience in the hospital, not pregnant, but from my experience when I had the PEs in my lungs, there are advocates in the hospitals as well. So if you do feel like you're not being heard and your family isn't able to stand up for you because of whatever reason they're not there, they're not sure how to do it, you can ask for advocates from the hospital. And I almost promise you that attitudes will change and they will turn around the way that they're treating you or not hearing you once you ask for an advocate. So, just an FYI.
That's awesome. I'm going to look that up too for ours to drop those, little bits of information. I didn't realize that, but that is really great because it just really just takes that one person to be stern enough and to just, it's so be loud. Let them say you're being loud.
Absolutely.
Being crazy, whatever.
I would rather be
You're being
loud than
safe
be
at the end
dead.
of the day.
I'm gonna tell you that right now. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Like if you want to sleep loud,
I can show you out. But
right? Keep it moving. We'll do it.
thank you again for sharing your story. We are now going to move on to our
Thank you so
segment.
much.
You are so welcome. We're going to move on to tea time. That is not the right clip. Hold on. This is the right clip. Tea time. Woo! It's game time. So, tea time is a game of rapid fire. I have a bucket full of questions and I have 3 minutes ready on the clock to go. So you will get 3 minutes to answer as many random questions as you can. Some of these questions are deep and some of them are just for fun. Most of them are just for fun. But we will get an opportunity as our listeners to get a little, I'm going to get it. Hold on. We will get an opportunity as listeners to get to know Lisa Lopez a little bit more. So, Miss Lisa, are you ready to play the game?
I am ready.
Awesome. Listeners, get ready. We're going to get to know Lisa in 5, 4, 3, 2. First question. Which emoji do you use the most?
Oh man. So that's probably got to be the little purple heart. Just because I associate purple with preeclampsia and preeclampsia awareness. So definitely use the purple heart a lot.
Nice. Next question. What's the worst piece of advice you ever received?
I think it's hilarious when people say sleep when the baby sleeps. And I love those videos where people will just like drop when they're in like mid walk with the baby and they realize baby fell asleep, because it's like, yeah, how are we gonna, that doesn't happen. But okay.
Right. What's the best gift you ever received?
Ooh. I had friends surprise me. I think this was like for my 15th birthday party. I'm a December baby, super close to Christmas. So I've never really had like a birthday party because it was just, too hard with holidays and stuff. And they were actually able to surprise me with a little birthday party at a Mexican restaurant. It was super cute. That was so much fun.
Aww, that's nice. Yeah. Your friend at 15. Ooh, I'm struggling over here. Okay. What's your hidden talent?
Oh my gosh. I don't think I have one.
I'm sure you do.
No,
but you can't think.
Yeah, I was like, I've got one maybe, but watch later or like in the middle of the night, I'm gonna wake up and be like, that's it.
I know what it is. You can email me. I'll put it in the comments. If you could give your younger self advice, what would it be?
Let's see if I could give my younger self a little advice. Just be happy. Just keep being kind and be happy. Some things are going to be bumpy, but you'll be good.
I mean, that's actually really good advice. What is your dream vacation spot?
Ooh. Man, I'd love to go to Italy. I just feel like it's just so pretty and everybody seems so happy whenever you see it in like movies and stuff, and the food. Yeah. Come on. Let's just sit around and nice views and eat good food.
Yes. Okay, this is maybe our last question. What is your comfort food?
Ooh, Mexican, definitely. Love me some enchiladas, and my grandma makes the best ones.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to squeeze one more in there, even though the timer is about to go off. Who is your celebrity crush?
Oh, let's see. Who is? I feel like immediately, because I feel like I see him everywhere now. Pedro Pascal is like the one that like just comes up. I'm not like, oh my gosh, over him like a lot of girls are, but let's see, who would I say? mine is, it's probably like someone from Dateline or something, because I watch way too much true crime.
Dateline.
Keith Morrison?
All right. Okay, Dateline crush. We'll take it. We'll take
that's
it.
my guy.
We shall take it. Excuse me. Well, Lisa, again, I want to thank you, first of all, for playing Tea Time. Those were fun answers. I mean,
that was so much fun.
I'm gonna have to check out these Dateline crushes that we're having over here. And I'll give you a thumbs up. I'll give you a thumbs up if I agree with you, but we'll see.
Yeah, it probably will. The 2020 guy, maybe, but
I have some weird taste. Sometimes I'm like, he was pretty cute. You're like, who? Yeah, okay. Anywho, enough about me. At this time, I want to give the mic back to you because maybe you have some encouraging or inspirational words that you would like to share to our listeners, whether they be moms, dads, or anybody raising kids.
Yeah. I think my biggest thing that I try to remind myself too is to give yourself grace. You're doing a great job. Even when you're thinking you're doing the worst, that's usually when you're doing your best, because you're worried about it and you're trying to figure it out, and we're all learning at the same time. So just be kind to yourself. It's hard. It's really hard. So just be kind to yourself.
I like that. Be kind to yourself. That is so important. So important. Well, Lisa, what is next for you? And how can our listeners connect with you and get that preeclampsia comedy for us?
Yeah. Again, you guys can follow me on Instagram. I'm at This Is Life W Lisa. I would love anybody to ask questions, just follow along, have a good time, laugh about all the crazy things that our kids do that make parenthood the crazy, wonderful, amazing ride that it is.
I like it. I love it. Awesome. Before we go, I always ask 3 questions to parents. It's not going to be any different for you today. So my first question to you, Lisa, is parenting hard?
Oh my gosh, yes. It is hard AF.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Church, okay? But are they still standing?
Yeah. I'll go out there and make sure right now we can still kind of hear them, but yeah. Every day. Like, so
go to bed.
I'm doing well.
Yes. I like that reference. And what would you like to proudly tell all of our guests today?
This mama is nailing it.
This mama is
for you.
Nailing it. I love it. Thank you. I caught that. Oh, I love having you on the show. I have to thank you one more time before we go. Thank you for sharing about your journey. I know sometimes our valley stories are horrible as we experience them, but we have to really appreciate the fact that we got out of the valley and we can share to those people who might be coming through that valley after us. I appreciate you for taking that platform. As a reminder to our guests, this mama is nailing it. If you like this episode and you want to hear more personal parenting stories like Lisa's, subscribe to my social media, Nailed It Motherhood Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And please don't forget to follow us on your favorite podcast platform. Why listen if you don't want to follow? I don't understand. As a reminder, you too can be a guest on this podcast by completing a guest application. Mamas, we love hearing from you, but dads, we also want to hear from you too. The link is in the comments. We welcome your questions, comments, and your ideas, and we certainly hope to keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep on doing what it is you do. Smooches!
You're listening to Nailed It Motherhood Podcast.